Hello friends, welcome to the learning journey of Oracle Cloud Maintenance. So before starting the session, I would like to give you a brief about myself. So I'll just quickly share my screen with you guys. So I hope you are able to see my screen. Okay. So I am an independent consultant of Oracle Cloud and EBS, and I have more than 15 years of experience into ERP consulting solutions, pre-sales, project management, and manufacturing operations. So I have global experience of pre-sales solutioning and leading large transformation ERP projects. And I have worked on various business processes in supply chain management, manufacturing, and planning, including maintenance. So particularly to Oracle Cloud, I have and EBS, I have expertise on Oracle Advanced Supply Chain Planning, GOP, Supply Chain Management, Manufacturing, Inventory and Procurement, including EBS and Cloud modules. And also I have been helping out the startups on various emerging technologies like AI, IoT and cloud. And I have worked on all tier one brands like Godrej, Oracle, KPMG, Capgemini and L&T Consulting. And I have delivered various solutions, more than 10 ERP implementations and more than 5 ERP support engagements for various customers, including electrical, electronics, and manufacturers, and some process manufacturers, as well as various service industries. And basically, I am a mechanical engineer and have done MBA in operations and finance, and I've done various certifications like CPIM, project management, and solution architect. So today we'll see these various topics, okay, on particularly the uh, these are the various topics of the training content that we'll be covering. First, we'll start with the introduction to the maintenance key concepts. Okay, then we'll see how the maintenance cloud module of Oracle is being used. Then we'll learn how do we set up the Oracle Cloud, and then we'll also execute the various Oracle flows so that we have the end-to-end understanding of how the Oracle processes the data for in maintenance cloud and maintain all the asset related informations. So it's a light right from the purchasing the asset to maintaining it. We'll see various functionalities included in that. So this will be the various topics that we'll cover. So we'll start with the introduction to the key concepts in maintenance. Okay, so guys, what is maintenance? Okay, so maintenance is any kind of activity carried out on an asset in order to ensure that it continues to perform its intended functions to repair the equipment. Okay, so it is particularly any activity that is carried out on any asset. Asset means any machineries or equipments in your manufacturing plant. Okay, so any of the activity that is carried out on that particular machine in order to maintain and repair that equipment is called the maintenance. So again, to clarify a bit more here, the modifications to these assets is not part of maintenance activity. Okay, though many of the time you will see that maintenance people are doing that, but it is not the part of the core maintenance role. Okay, but then a lot of time before, because of their expertise and uh, their skills in those particular area, maintenance people keep on doing that. And also sometimes maintenance is called like a war. Okay, So here, why it is called like that is because all the breakdowns are really like an enemy in any plant. If you will see, even if a few minutes of breakdown impacts the thousands of products being impacted during that particular time, and then also it impacts of course the revenue for that time and the productivity loss for that time. So there are a lot of impact, and it is called because of that the enemy. So it becomes an enemy, and of course not only the breakdowns but deterioration or any unplanned activity or event that happens on that particular asset is kind of a enemy to the in terms of maintenance. And then your soldiers in these are of course the maintenance department, so who actively become take the charge in those situations, and they protect the civilians. And who are the civilians in this case are all the production workers, office workers, drivers, okay, forklift drivers and all, and all these people who are using these particular assets, okay, including the machines, equipments, forklifts. So all these are nothing but the assets, and whoever are using that, to them they needs to protect, okay, to ensure that they are working smoothly, like our soldiers ensure by protecting our border that all the operations in the society are maintained properly. Okay, all they can do their own work. Civilians can do their own work, that is ensured by our soldiers by protecting our borders from the enemy. Similarly here, the maintenance department does that work. It helps that all the tasks are performed by all the production workers and the office workers and forklift drivers appropriately. Okay, and the main function of maintenance is of course to keep the equipment available, reliable, and cost optimized. Okay, though the maintenance department, like I said, always is involved in a lot of other activities as well. Okay, but their primary tasks are like maintenance of the existing equipments, maintain equipments inspection and services. So whatever equipment they are maintaining, they need to inspect it frequently, periodically, so that there is no breakdown, to take the preventive actions for that. And of course, apart from maintenance, they have the other activities like equipment installations, then maintenance, storekeeping, and craft administration. So equipment installations, of course, these guys are the expert in maintaining those equipment. They know the product or the asset very well. They understand it. They can install it very properly. So they do the installations. And then, of course, whatever spare parts are required for those, they maintain all the spare parts. They know which are the critical parts required, how frequently they will be required, what levels to be should be maintained in the maintenance store, and how much downtime we can afford for each spare part. Okay, so accordingly they plan all the activities, and that is a very key activity of maintaining the store in maintenance department. And then comes the craft administration. That is also one of the key activity of any maintenance manager or supervisor. Because if you see in any maintenance department, it is like they of course need to maintain the skilled staff, as well as they need to utilize that skilled staff properly, so that their productivity is maintained and they are not being underutilized, or they are not stressed by overutilization. So all these things needs to be taken care. So the optimum staff has to be maintained in maintenance department, because if there are less breakdown happen, then they should have the task that they can utilize them somewhere else. And if there are maintenance times, then they need to ensure that these people come back to the maintenance department and work on the breakdown activities. Okay, then comes the maintenance objectives. So what are the maintenance objectives? Okay, any maintenance department need to keep the maintenance per product item as low as possible. Okay, so the first objective of any maintenance department is to keep the cost as low as possible, to keep the product quality as high as possible. How they maintain the product quality? They are not the product workers, right? But then they maintain the product quality by maintaining the assets in the proper functioning. Okay, so if your machine is working properly, it is giving the accuracy that is required to produce the product, then of course your quality will be very high, and that is the main objective. Then to keep the downtime for critical equipments as low as possible. Of course, the as I said, if there is any critical equipment is under downtime, then there is a huge impact on any product or any product manufacturing plant. So they need to ensure that the downtime is very minimal in all at all cost. Okay, particularly for the critical equipment. Also, if there are multiple equipments or the machines in a particular assembly line, there are always one or two critical equipment that are very important for the productivity point of view for any product manufacturing. Okay, so those critical equipments are always tracked by maintenance department as ensure that their preventive maintenance is done very properly, so that they do not have any downtime. To keep the maintenance cost as low as possible for non-critical equipment, of course, non-critical equipments anyway, they will keep more focus, but at the same time they need to ensure that the non-critical equipments are also maintained properly. There is a minimum cost associated with its maintenance by doing the proper preventive maintenance, or by designing or installing the equipments in such a way, or that there is a minimum maintenance required for them. Like whenever they are doing preventive maintenance, they can if those equipments are associated nearby, then they can plan the preventive maintenance it on a single day or something, so that their cost gets minimized of maintaining those equipments. Okay, then to provide and maintain the adequate facilities, okay, and to provide the effective and trained supervision. So not only the technicians work is important here who will actually maintain the department, but like I said, the supervision is also very important, because appropriate skills are required to maintain the appropriate machines. So like hydraulic machines will require the hydraulic technicians, the pneumatic equipments will require the pneumatic technicians, both will require the electrical equipment electricians if there are any electrical equipments involved. So the right skill is required to maintain the right equipments, and whenever there is any breakdown, they need to arrange these right skills to maintain them. Okay, so these are the key objective that we just discussed. We'll just see now. We'll move toward the key concepts in maintenance. Okay, so these are just the few terminologies that we frequently use in maintenance, and we will get into the detail of all these key concepts again when we actually start looking as a various use cases or various applications of these concepts in Oracle Cloud. So that time we'll go to each screen of Oracle Cloud. We'll see first what are these key concepts, like what are the work maintenance work definitions or maintenance programs. Okay, so all these things we'll see, and then at the same time we'll after that we'll ensure that we also have the proper setup and configuration demonstration of all these key concepts. Okay, so we'll see the key concepts in maintenance. So the first concept is about the maintenance organization. So we just discussed briefly what are the various uh, roles or the various structures of the maintenance organizations. Then uh, there are assets or assets group, which are nothing but your equipments or machineries that you are maintaining in any organization. Then the maintenance work definition. So what are different activities being carried out by maintenance department, like overhauling, oiling, or any of these activities, and so that are covered in the maintenance work definitions. Then maintenance programs are there, various like preventive maintenance and all those. So in Oracle Cloud, there are a lot of other programs also that we need to run in order to maintain all these equipments and maintain their records or their reports. And then maintenance, managing the maintenance work. Okay, then executing the maintenance work, reports, analytics. So all these things, all these key concepts we'll see, concepts we'll see actually how those work in the maintenance area, and how those are being configured in Oracle system. Okay, and then the key transaction flows in maintenance cloud that are like the first one is asset purchase to maintenance, where you actually purchase the asset, and then you plan how to maintain that asset. And then the second process is where you plan to maintain asset. Once you have done the planning, then you will do various preventive actions on that equipment. And then of course, if there are any breakdowns, you will create the work orders, and you will manage that uh, maintenance orders. So that all happens in Oracle Cloud. So we'll go step by step into each of these various concepts, and then we'll just quickly start with some of the background that is required for particularly planning your maintenance. Okay, so I will cover this slide later. First, I will cover, since we have seen the objectives and various maintenance department and its various functionalities. We'll see what are the key roles and interdependencies of the maintenance department. Okay. So the key roles that are part of any organization department of maintenance are like a maintenance manager and then the maintenance technician. So there may be multiple roles related to each other, like maintenance manager may have maintenance supervisor reporting to him, or maintenance technicians will have again their fellow technicians reporting to them, or there will be lead technicians in each area, like lead electricians, uh, lead of the press shop, or lead of the some particular assembly lines. Okay, so who will be leading the maintenance of those particular areas depending on their functions or depending on the area allocated to them. And then but the responsibilities will be somewhat related to each other, and so I just group them into two categories. One is the maintenance manager or supervisor, and the another is maintenance technician. So maintenance manager is a role which is responsible for managing the department where equipment of an organizations are maintained, and they are also responsible for ensuring the programs are in place for timely service of the equipments. Work orders are being completed by the maintenance technicians as per the schedules. There will be preventive maintenance work orders, or the breakdown maintenance work orders, or emergency maintenance work orders. So all these are appropriately attended by the technicians, that they will ensure. And the majority they will have certain tasks like communicating with the maintenance technicians regarding the schedule maintenance work orders, probing them where they are doing it right or wrong as per their experience, and then also understanding where exactly the problem is, where guiding them to complete their task on time. Then responding to quick emergencies work orders that arise unexpectedly, alert the maintenance technician, communicate the status back, monitor the completion of the maintenance work orders. Okay, define maintainable assets and set maintenance strategies for the asset. So we'll need to define the strategies, like when do we maintain which asset, like in certain festival periods when these assets are required to be working on multiple shifts or anything, then to prepare them for those kind of periods, or whenever there is maintenance breakdown period, ensure that these kinds of equipments which are not maintained frequently are given the proper attention. So all these things planning is done by the maintenance manager, and they ensure that the parts and tools are procured as necessary. So whatever equipments or the spare parts are required for those equipment, those are kept in stock. They also review the cost of the work orders, their history, and they also analyze that history. Okay, they review the asset history, so that whatever has happened, which are the recurring problems, what may be their probable solutions. So all these things are particularly managed and tracked by the maintenance manager. Okay, then the next role is of the maintenance technician. It is a key role who is responsible again for maintaining and reporting the equipment of an organization. This is responsible for completing the assigned work orders on time and correct order. Okay, and the key task for them like are the communicating with the maintenance manager regarding the scheduled maintenance work orders for the week. So they need to ensure that they know whatever is assigned them for the week, communicating with the maintenance manager that if they are not doing this, then what else can be done or what else can be appropriately planned during that time, understanding which maintenance work orders need to be worked on particular day, what is the priority, always like the emergency or the breakdowns are the priorities, and then they need to plan accordingly their task as per that priorities. Okay, then reviewing the maintenance work order informations, part list information, part availability, and work order history. So reviewing maintenance work orders are like because sometimes it may happen that some department raises some requisition for downtime, but it may be that the actual problem may be because of something else, like some pneumatic supply cutting or power supply, or something is affected because of some accident or anything that has happened in the plant. So they need to uh, 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 plan those repairs and maintenance of these equipments accordingly, and ensure that all the details are updated on the work list. If the supervisor of their department has not updated it properly, it is their duty to ensure that it is updated properly. And of course, attending those emergency breakdown whatever arise unexpectedly, or updating the complete maintenance work order, like I mentioned, as if their supervisor or the production supervisor has not updated it properly, and then recording the amount of time that they have spent, including all the material they have spent on that particular work order. So that is the key duty of the technicians, because of which you can actually analyze the work orders and their costing, and you can plan it in future, or entire strategic planning can be done based on that. Okay, and of course taking the notes regarding the maintenance work. So all these are the major activities performed by the maintenance manager and maintenance technicians. And of course we have seen the various objective of the entire department. So all these tasks and activities has to be again aligned with those particular objectives of the maintenance department. Okay, so when it comes to maintenance department, we have talked a lot about maintenance department, guys. But then again, maintenance department does not work in silos. Okay, it is closely integrated with the overall function of the organization, and it is one of the function which generally you can categorize along with manufacturing. Okay, so the major functions that you see in any business are like financials, then distribution, which will involve your procurement and the order management functions, and then the manufacturing, where the manufacturing, tracking the manufacturing of the products, the work orders, planning, and everything that comes in the manufacturing. And of course maintenance functions are also part of that. And then there is the sales and service is one function, where whatever products you have manufactured, that you sell to your customers. And then the last one is the project. So these are the key functions, and manufacturing comes under maintenance comes under the manufacturing function. And these are various flows related to each function areas, which you can see like in finance there are multiple flows. In manufacturing, like there are designing, forecast to planning, plan to schedule. All these are various manufacturing flows. And then particularly related to EM, there are these flows like asset purchase to maintenance plan or plan to maintain assets. These are the key flows. Okay, and then the functions that they carry out, or the maintenance department, are like managing the inventory, particularly for the maintenance department, then managing the asset purchase and maintaining it, and doing the failure analysis. So these are some of the functions that you can do in any system. So all these functions are, guys, mapped to certain ERP applications, or some IT systems onto which any organization is tracking their transactions. Okay, so similarly for Oracle Cloud, there are various modules involved in all these areas or all these functions. And the Oracle Maintenance Cloud is the module which is used for tracking the maintenance transactions and reporting of the maintenance department. Okay, so if you see, these are the certain particularly functions and the flows that are involved. And the key benefit of the Oracle Cloud is it does not do only the traditional reactive maintenance. Okay, it does not do only the traditional reactive maintenance, but the advantage of Oracle Cloud is it can do the preventive maintenance. It can help you to track the predictive maintenance, and not only the preventive and predictive maintenance, but it goes one step ahead to do the prescriptive maintenance. So that is the main benefit of Oracle Cloud that you can mention here. So we'll see next in the next slide quickly what are these definitions or strategies, particularly of maintenance, are there. So the reactive maintenance is something which is kind of a run to failure, guys. Okay, whenever something is failed, then go run and fix it. That is a kind of a reactive maintenance which used to happen in earlier days of industrialization. Okay, because there are certain applications where it is and also it is done strategically for some equipments, because in certain applications or certain machines, it is okay for them to wait for their breakdown rather than keeping on doing preventive maintenance and investing lot of time into those kind of activities. Okay, like where you need some small parts, or there are some redundant systems which are not being much used, or some non-critical components are there. So those you can do the reactive maintenance for them. Okay, then comes the preventive maintenance. So preventive maintenance is also for generally done for the very critical equipments. And it is again it is a time based scheduled routine maintenance. Like you decide that for these machines, because of this reason we do the monthly maintenance. For this machine, because of this reason we'll do the weekly maintenance. For this machine we'll need to do these activities daily, like oiling or something. Okay, so that is what you plan for in the preventive maintenance. So depending on the asset, the service could be done on an hourly or mileage basis, and can include, like, so for some machines you can ensure that if there are 1,000 runs of this machine, then I will maintain it or do the preventive maintenance. Okay, and it includes the maintenance processes such as changing the engine, transmission oil, replacing filters, greasing or lubrication, brake system inspection, etc. Okay, and the disadvantage of again, that is it is based on a schedule. There will be cases when maintenance task may result into some other additional maintenance which is not planned. Okay, so that is a drawback, but then generally preventive maintenance is always better to maintain the critical machines. Okay, the advantages are more. Then comes the proactive maintenance. So it is also referred as reliability centered maintenance. This strategy is based on predictive maintenance and condition based maintenance. So proactive maintenance tries to manage failure through analytics with the equipment of never allowing the system fail to occur. Okay, so because of safety reasons, it is required to be done in some cases. At the same time, it is beneficial in many cases. because this is down through failure mode effect analysis and predicting when an asset might fail, so that maintenance work order can be planned. So this is again run nowadays with some advanced sensors and all those things. You can track actually your machines when they could fail. Okay, like suppose you are maintaining a lift of your organization. Okay, that lift is, you can actually have some sensors that will measure the actual wear and tear of your rope, or actual runs, number of runs or number of travels of your lift. It can actually monitor with the vision sensors the actual wear and tear of your bearings and some critical parts, and then it can do the failure mode analysis, and then it can communicate that now it is time to replace the rope, it is time to replace the pulley. So that kind of communication can be planned with the proactive maintenance. And similarly, the next step of that is the prescriptive maintenance, where actually it is a maintenance concept that collects and analyzes the data about the equipment to come up with specialized recommendation, okay, corresponding to the outcome or to reduce the operational risk. So these two last two types of strategies are generally used in case of very high cost machines, or where there is a safety, there is a concern of safety of a lot of people, like the railways or particularly the flights, right? You cannot do any repairing when the flight is flying, right? Or you cannot do the repairing when the railway is running. So in those cases, you need to do some predictive analysis based on the data that you have collected, and based on that you have to do the preventive maintenance or the proactive maintenance. Like in aeroplane, you cannot afford that you let the engine fly, or aeroplane fly with one engine having some problem, or even a single part of it having any problem. Okay, we all know that what kind of disasters can happen even in the space. Okay, in the space technologies, where there are a lot of incidents where the rockets with the people were exploded because of a small fault, like a small riveting was not done properly, or the small screw was not tied properly, and that results into a major incident. And this kind of proactive maintenance can be done in such cases. Okay, and of course it can be used as our routine cases also, like when we do use our lifts and all other equipments. Okay, so guys, next we'll come to the key process flows that are critical from the point of view of maintenance. Okay. So the asset purchase to maintenance plan flow particularly includes the functionalities like creating the new assets with various attributes, like the assets may have their serial numbers, asset numbers, their particular attributes like their color, their specifications, technical details. So all these attributes which needs to be created in the system. Then creating their asset meters. Okay, so how do we, if there are some assets that needs to be metered or monitored, so in that case they will have some meters. Then they will have some activities associated with those assets, like lubricating, cleaning, or oiling or something. So those are those activities specific to that assets which are there, which we can associate to that asset while creating that asset. Then creating the preventive maintenance schedules for the asset, and then generating the work orders as per the preventive maintenance. So these are the key functionalities in the asset purchase to maintenance plan. And if we see its process flow, it will look like these guys. Okay, where actually the input to this particular flow will come from receipt to assets. Okay, in this case, what you will do is particularly you will purchase the asset. Okay, So this is particularly the procurement part, okay, the receipt to asset, which is an input to the asset purchase to maintain plan. Okay, in this case, what the input will be, this is again coming from the procurement flow, where you will negotiate with the vendor who will be selling you the asset. You will decide on the specifications required for it. You will compare the quotations of 2 3 vendors. Then you will purchase it. Then you will put a purchase order with particular shortlisted vendor, and then that shortlisted vendor it will supply the asset to you and on particular time. Okay, and then he will also help you during the installation. He will also provide you various service warranties and all those things whatever applicable for that asset. So those all thing comes under the receipts to asset, which is an input to this flow. It is again a part of the procurement process. And then kind of receipts to assets, which is a financial process where you again capitalize those assets after receiving them. Okay, so it's part of that process actually. And then the first part, once you have purchased it, you will create a maintenance asset record in your maintenance department. Okay, so you will here actually install the asset within your organization, and you will maintain then various required attributes for that in the next process. Okay, you will add the attributes like whether it is a fixed asset or it is a production asset. Okay, the production asset means any production machine. Okay, or the fixed asset like something like water cooler or something required for on the shop floor. So these are various types of assets. Okay, where you will categorize that. Then you will add the asset hierarchy. Okay, the asset hierarchy is something that again maybe if you have some assembly line, then that assembly line can be a part of the every workstation, or the uh, machine in that assembly line can have some hierarchy. Okay, or similarly if you have a punching machine, okay, a punching press, then the required dies may be a part of that, but both of them will be asset. The dies will be also an asset, and the punching machine will also be an asset. So this way you can create a way the hierarchy structure also. Then you will create the schedules for the maintenance of those assets. Okay, and then you will determine the maintenance strategy for your spares. Which are the critical spares required, which are the spares required frequently, how much stock we can keep of them. So all that strategy you will prepare. And then you will also manage the meters required for the assets. Okay, like you can create some meter and associate with that, so that you will come to know if it is a punching press, how many runs he has done, how many times he has it has run. Okay, how many shots it has given. So all that can be captured with the meters. Okay, and then once you are doing one task, you can suppress the other task. So you can associate those kind of activities also with the assets. Okay, that is called the suppression. Like when you are cleaning, you cannot do lubrication, right? Once, or when you are doing lubrication, you cannot do cleaning the same time. So there will be some this kind of suppression activities, and then you will also associate the meters. Then comes the process create and schedule preventive maintenance. Okay, so whatever strategies you have defined, based on that you will create a maintenance schedule, where you will generate the list of tasks based on the calendar and the meter readings. Like after having the 1,000 shots, my machine needs to be maintained for these parts. Okay, or like every month in the second weekend, I will do this task for this particular machine. So these are kind of the preventive schedule which will prepare for your asset. Okay, and based on that particular schedule that you have created for your preventive maintenance, you will generate the work orders. Okay, and based on these work orders, then those particular work orders will be assigned to your technicians, and from where your next process starts, that is plan to maintain asset. Okay, so now you have done all the planning here for preventive maintenance. Now what you will do is you will take the action, you will plan to fix those work orders. Okay, so and then various roles involved here, basically plan asset purchase to maintenance plan. Those all activities are done by maintenance manager. okay, or maintenance supervisor, and then the next actual maintaining the asset, that is done by technician with the collaboration with maintenance manager. Okay, guys. So we'll move to the next flow. So then the next important process flow is plan to maintain asset, where actually the functionalities that are carried out are like creating the work request for maintenance requirement, approving the work request and creating work orders for them, rescheduling work orders based on maintenance load, modifying work order material requirement based on the actual requirements, issuing the material, and charging the resources against those particular work orders, and then closing the work order. So basically here we deal with all kinds of work orders or the work requests that the maintenance department keep on getting. Okay, and that is why it is the most crucial or the critical flow, and it's the diagram, if you see it involves the multiple roles like maintenance engineer, maintenance manager, or even the shop floor operator who actually raises the maintenance requirements. And the inputs to this particular process flow are the asset purchase to maintenance plan, which again came from our earlier process flow, where we purchased the asset and created the maintenance schedule or the preventive maintenance schedule for it. And then if we are using any project budget to project resourcing, there also there might be some assets or equipments purchased for the execution of those particular projects, which may be part of that. And it starts with reviewing the maintenance requests, where there again we separate it in the three main areas, where maintenance planning is one thing, where actually you get the order from your any of the production department and you plan the maintenance. Then the actual maintenance activities that takes place in the maintaining assets, and then there are some rebuildable spares which you plan in the last flow. Okay, so whenever once the maintenance requests are created, these requests are then based on these requests, that technicians or the supervisor will search on what may be the probable solution for it on the in the knowledge base. If it is a it looks like any known or repetitive kind of a issue, then they may search in the knowledge base. And if it is not, then they may raise a request, a maintenance request, and that is again comes to the approval to the maintenance supervisor or the maintenance manager, and he will approve that. Okay, and once that request is approved, then uh, the work maintenance work order will be created. Okay, and also whatever the if you remember, we have created the maintenance schedule for the preventive maintenance also. For them also, as per that schedule, the work orders will be created. So here both the kinds of work orders will be created in this particular issue, and those work orders will be issued to the maintenance engineer. Okay, and of course, if it is related to any project, then it will also include the project number, and the task of those particular work order will be associated with the projects as well. Okay, and then you will create the maintenance schedule. When the work order is created, then you will identify any dependencies on the resources, which resources will be required, whether any electrician will be required, any fitter will be required, or any plumber will be required, or hydraulic or the pneumatic person will be required. So accordingly, that technician is identified, and he will also obtain the material that will be required to perform this maintenance work. Like he may go and collect some spare parts that may be required because of this breakdown. He will also arrange all the required tools and equipments to work on that particular work order. Okay, and he will provide the additional information to expedite the purchasing. If those components are not in stock, if those needs to be purchased, the spare parts are not available, then he will arrange the purchase order or expedite the purchasing of those particular spare. Then the next parts come where this the execution happens, where this sometime you may not get the time to plan all these things. Okay, so it may happen that some emergency maintenance breakdown comes up. Okay, so what they will do in that case also, they will initiate the emergency maintenance. Similarly, they will execute the task first. Okay, now what will they do is, they will, after getting the information, they will immediately start execution. Whereas here they will first create the work order, they will create the schedule, and then they will obtain the material. Whereas here they will directly start executing. And then whatever execution they have done or they have worked on, then they will update it into the system against that work order. Okay, they will record their time associated with that. They will maintain the activity that they have done against that work order. Okay, and if the work order is not created, they will create the work order also in that case. Okay, and then if there are any rebuildable items for them also, they will release the work orders. And for the rebuildable spare part also, it will be like same process will be followed. They will manage the work order, they will manage cost and configuration, and they will also manage the budget for it. Particularly in case of rebuildable work order, it is like something changing your batteries and all. All right, suppose one forklift is there, its battery is not working, then what they will have to do is, they will have to arrange some other spare part, fix against it. They will have to find out another battery, they will have to fix it onto the forklift, and then whatever the battery that was not working, that will be again taken to the maintenance department, and they will work on that. So that is an example of the rebuildable work order. And then once this maintenance has been done, the cycle is completed, then it again gives input to the various next flows, like the assets to depreciation, forecast to plan advance, and project expenditure. Okay, so asset to depreciation is here. Once you have worked on that particular asset for a lot of years, then that asset needs to be depreciated. So then that depreciation process is taken again as a part of asset finance, where it is depreciated with the proper records and after proper number of years with particular value. And then forecast to plan advance means, see, whenever you are planning any preventive maintenance, or you wherever there is any breakdown on particular machine, your planning system needs to know that there is a breakdown. Planning system means your supply chain planning system, which is planning your manufacturing. Okay, in that case only you can actually the planner will come to know that this machine is not working, so you need to allocate all the manufacturing to the another machine or another assembly line, or he will need to wait for production of this particular product, so he will need to communicate it to the customer support, so that they can communicate to the customer. So all these things can be taken by planner. So that is the reason that input is given to forecast to plan advance flow. And as well as to the projects, if it is associated, that machine is associated with the project, then that information is given to the project as well, because based on that only the project will capture the expenditure of maintenance occurred in that project. Okay, so guys, these were the fundamental concepts and the introduction to the maintenance that we covered in today's topic. So what we'll do from the next topic is, whatever key concepts we have seen, we'll see how those key concepts are there in Oracle Cloud. We can navigate to the Oracle Cloud. We can see how to navigate, what are the different UIs, or the for user, what are the different options there to click where and all, how we can find out various dashboards on that particular Oracle Cloud page. And then after going through all these key concepts in the Oracle Cloud as an end user first, then we'll start the configuration in the Oracle Cloud maintenance system. And after completing the configuration, again we'll execute these end-to-end flows that we discussed now. We'll execute these end-to-end flows in the system. Okay, so thanks for your attention, and I appreciate your patience. Thank you. So guys, we'll quickly see now a video on the maintenance operations. which is quite important to understand various functions in maintenance.
Upon completion of this lesson, learners should be able to recognize the role and importance of maintenance service operations in helping to ensure equipment availability and reliability, understand the various functions performed by maintenance, and discuss the role of maintenance spares. The maintenance function exists to provide services to operations to ensure that plant and equipment is safe, reliable, and available for manufacturing purposes. The primary goal of the maintenance function is to plan and conduct activities and work tasks to mitigate equipment failure. Ideally, maintenance should be performed to prevent equipment failures by replacing components and parts before they break, performing planned overhauls, lubrications, and adjustments. When equipment does break or fail, maintenance needs to have the necessary trained personnel and access to spare and replacement parts to quickly and effectively make the machine operational. While maintenance keeps operations in the supply chain running, it is also interesting to note that in many ways, there is a whole integrated supply chain involved with maintenance itself. Parts, people, and other resources need to be planned, sourced, manufactured, transported, and stored to support maintenance operations. The key functions of maintenance include breakdown repairs, repairs carried out on equipment or machinery that has broken down during the course of normal operation. Overhaul, repairing and maintaining a piece of equipment or machinery to restore it to working condition. Rebuild, building a piece of equipment or machinery to working condition after it has reached the end of its normal working life or after it has been damaged. Service, during the normal course of work, the maintenance personnel perform routine operations carried out on a regular basis to keep machinery and equipment functioning effectively, including minor adjustments and periodic lubrication. Modification, making a small adjustment, change, or addition to a piece of equipment or machinery to improve the operational output. Inspection, performing a physical examination or review. Inspection involves taking measurements and performing tests with gauges to determine proper functionality to a standard. Replacements, changing out a piece of equipment or machinery, or a component of this equipment or machinery when it has reached the end of its useful life. In order to support maintenance operations, spare parts and some subassemblies are required to ensure that the plant and equipment is kept in reliable and safe condition. When you think about the dozens of individual parts that may comprise a single machine, say an air conditioner, then extrapolate that to the dozens of pieces of equipment that are found in a manufacturing facility, perhaps you can get an appreciation for the level of investment involved with managing inventories for maintenance. Process industry companies with a need to minimize downtime due to out-of-commission critical equipment, and utilities that must work to restore operations after a weather emergency may hold millions of dollars of spare parts inventory. In addition to spare parts, there are a number of other materials that may be needed to conduct the maintenance operations. Typically, these are relatively low-value materials called usage materials, which are used on a regular basis. Examples are fasteners, cleaning materials, lubrication materials, and other consumables, such as paper towels. Scheduled spares are used whenever a planned maintenance task is performed. They could include internal machine parts and roller bearings on conveyors. Air filters for HVAC systems may also be considered as scheduled spares. Project materials, used for a planned project, and could include internal parts to rebuild a machine to a significant extent. Breakdown spares, used when breakdowns occur to replace broken or non-functioning spares. Insurance spares, used to protect against natural disasters. They could consist of an entire machine or a set of machines to enable manufacturing to continue to operate.